Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. I want to share with you because I've shared with the Chinese mindfulness sharing group, and I think it's fair to share with this group too. We've been to Saskatoon just over the week, just Monday and Tuesday. You know what I did in Saskatoon, right? Visit Mr. T. Yeah, it's been a year. Actually 14 months since we've last seen him. So he's been very good, very well. Not very good, very well. He's been transferred into the same facility, but transferred to individual cottage housing, with sharing with 6 other inmates' friends, and they take turn to cook, so they can order their food. So it doesn't help with his weight in that way, of course. But it was good to see him, because he has been promoting us in the prison to so many people, especially to his parole officer and everybody else. So we got a request to do meditation classes with the staff, for the staff and for the they call patients, actually those inmates, you know. So we got there on Monday morning, yeah. So we wait until Tuesday to go in there. And then so we had the first session. We had 20 patients and 6 staffs. It was very good. And then we had an extra hour with Mr. T in the morning, because there was an SPO from the women prison. We didn't even know actually there was a women prison in that big complex, in the big treatment center. So there was an SPO in the morning, and she asked us whether we can go to the women prison in the afternoon, if we are willing to go. Of course, I mean, what are we doing, right? With Saskatoon, I mean, it's like a dead city, so there's nowhere to go. So I said, yeah, sure. So we went in the afternoon. So we went to visit. So we saw Mr. T in the morning, and then we had out for lunch with the chaplain, and then we came back and then spent another 1 hour 10 minutes with him, and then went to the prison, and then went to the women prison. So, but the women prison, we only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, right? 1, 2, 5 people, only 1 inmate. The other 4 were staffs. So it was good. It was I think it was a very fruitful day. So that's a little 2-day trip in Saskatoon. So that was something that I wanted to share with you. So today we are going to study this book. So anybody looking at us from the Facebook, this is the book we are going to use. You can order that online. I don't know which way you would like to do this. I just had a thought just now before I came over. I was just going to to go along and then explain. But you know what? I think before I came over, there was this thought coming to my mind. I thought you will get a lot more if we start doing it like the Lotus Sutra. We read a few pages, and then I go along to explain some of those important points, and I think that will be actually more fruitful than just listening to me, picking the passages out and explaining to them. What do you think? Yeah? Next week we'll do this. So if you have a book at home, please bring them next week. If you don't, get one yourself. It's a good book to really, to keep reading. Even if you, for the rest of this life, if you just read this book and practice according to this book, that's all you need, really. It's all in here, really. There's so much in here that, you know, even we might not be able to use it all, but it's such a wonderful book. Okay, so let us go to chapter 1. Chapter 1 is called The Human Condition, and I pick out this passage that is actually the third paragraph on page 26, and it says, "The beautiful chariots of kings wear out. This body too undergoes decay. But the Dhamma of the good does not decay, so the good proclaim along with the good." So this human condition, what kind of human condition is he talking about in here?
The body.
The body, and he said the beautiful chariots of kings wear out. This body too undergoes decay. So this body undergoes decay through what? Through impermanence, and through aging, and also sickness, and also death. we should talk more about that word. Death. You see, it's so nice to see people smile when we talk about that, when we use that word. People always, "Oh no, don't talk about that word," you know. Yes. So the beautiful chariots of kings wear out. This body too undergoes decay. So we are constantly, this body is constantly going through changes, and this whole chapter tells us, explains to us, and leads us to understand and reflect, and hopefully we could try to contemplate a little bit more the reality life that we are living right now. What kind of life we are living, and the issues that we are facing, or the challenges that we are encountering right now. How do we deal with them? Do we just avoid them? Do we avoid them but take up other things to avoid it more? Or do we just look at it and face it? This chapter, it tells us what we should really look at. So in this chapter, the Bhikkhu Bodhi actually used a very wonderful simile or a metaphor, what the Buddha has actually talked about, and he used the simile of the mountain. So you see this whole in the Buddha's word is a compilation of different suttas from the Majjhima Nikaya or middle length discourse, and also from Anguttara Nikaya and Digna Nikaya, and a lot of the ancient Nikaya, the Pali canon. You could say it's a Theravadan tradition in the ancient Pali canon, which of course it is really not the complete canon. Right now we see the Pali canon. If people say maybe 2/3 of the ancient one, the original one, I doubt about that. Maybe even 2/3 is too much. So we wouldn't know how much is really that is from the ancient one, but definitely at least half of them is actually from the ancient one. because the compilation of the teachings have happened so long ago and through so many years, and different council, and different council definitely have different interpretations. So, but anyway, I think I felt that the bhikkhu has really done a great job. We should be all grateful to this great work that he had put together. So this simile of the mountain, when this is page 26, yeah. Okay, sorry, I should have animated it. But anyway, one day at Savatthi, in the middle of the day, King Pasenadi, a very devoted student of the Buddha, of Kosala, came to the Buddha. And you see, when a student or when a householder go to see the Buddha, they always, what did they do? Pay homage to him and sat down to one side. Pay homage to the Buddha. Why would one pay homage to the Buddha when they go and visit? Just, you're going to visit your friend, hi! Then you sit down, right? But visiting your spiritual teacher is a totally different thing. One has to really be respectful, I would say, in a sense, be respectful. So they always pay respect first, and then in the ancient Indian or even nowadays in the tradition, they go down on their knees. What did they do?
Touch the feet.
Yeah, they touch their feet and they put it on their head. Yeah, what does that mean?
I was taught that you're paying respect to your elders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, touching the feet and putting to the head. I experienced that the first time when I went to teach a meditation retreat. Not ancient, but an Indian lady came and asked questions. Before she asked questions, she touched my feet and then put it to her head. And then after I answered her questions, before she left, she touched my feet. So that was I didn't take any offense. I knew that was the kind of respect that they do. So that's what they are paying homage. And then they would sit on their one side, and then the Buddha would ask, maybe have a conversation with them. So the Buddha said to the king, "King, where are you coming from in the middle of the day?" You probably say, "I come from hope," right? But the king said, "Well, I have been engaged in those affairs of kinship, typical for kings." Typical for kings. What are typical for kings? Who are so intoxicated with the intoxications of sovereignty. We see that nowadays so much. Who are obsessed by greed for sensual pleasures also. Who have attained the stable control in their country and who rule, having conquered a great sphere of territory on earth. That means this king is constantly trying to extend and expand his territory, and also trying to entertain himself on all levels of sensual pleasures, right? So that's what king does. So then the Buddha asked the king, "Oh, is that what you do? So what do you think, great king? Suppose a man would come to you from the east, one who is trustworthy and reliable." Remember these two words, trustworthy and reliable. "And would tell you, for sure, great king, you should know this, I'm coming from the east, and there I saw a great mountain high as the clouds coming this way, crushing all living beings." How would a mountain move? A mountain does move.
Earthquake.
Yes, a mountain does move. Do whatever you think should be done, great king. Then a second man will come to you from the west, a third man from the north, and a fourth man from the south. So from all directions, 4 directions. One who is trustworthy and reliable and would tell you, for sure, great king, you should know this, I'm coming from the south, and there I saw a great mountain. If, great king, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so difficult to obtain, what should be done? When the mountain moves from the east, from the south, from the west, from the north, such a big peril, right? Peril?
Peril.
Yeah. Okay. What should we do? What should be done? I want you to pay attention to trustworthy and reliable. Trustworthy and reliable. Why do I want to bring these 2 words to you? Why is it important?
Has to be believable.
Has to be believable.
Yeah.
You believe them or they believe in you?
You believe what they are saying because they're trustworthy and reliable.
Yeah. But do we always believe? That's good. Especially when somebody is telling you this is not right. You are not doing it right. Or you should be doing it this way. Or when you go down this way, you will end up in that part, in that black hole. Don't go down there. You said, no, I've been down there before. You come with me if you don't trust me. Right? A lot of times when we advise people like that, people just take offense so badly. Haven't we been down that road before? Yes. Good. Very honest. Yeah, it's true. Because a lot of times we don't like to hear something that we think, no, this is way different than what I think. We become offended. Why? Because of our ego. Yeah? That ego is so big. And, maybe people are not really talking. That's just not the intention of that. But a lot of times when you just see it or hear it, we just jump right into the conclusion. No, you're wrong. No, this might be me. They're talking about me. Everything just me, me, and it's all, the whole pot is being stirred up. At that moment, you're overcome with ignorance. You're overcome with ill will, animosity, and you don't see the picture very clearly. Even though this person has been very trustworthy, has been very reliable all along, but because of this ego coming up and this unskillful mindset sets in, and that curtain just completely goes up. So a lot of time it's so ignorant that we hurt the trustworthy and reliable people that have come to our life all the time. So, treasure those people you think they are very trustworthy, those are very reliable. Next time if they advise you, and if you think that they are wrong, don't say it right away. Take a couple of seconds, take a few deep breaths, and reflect on it. and see, maybe they are not wrong, and you are not wrong either, but it's different perspective. And I remember when I was in my junior days, and I see those senior nuns doing something, I said, I would never do that. That is terrible. I would never do that. When I become a senior nun, I did exactly the same. I did exactly the same thing. I said, then I realized, if you are not in that position, you really don't understand why would they do such thing. Only you are in such position, then it's very natural that you will do such thing. So, we just have to trust each other, that's all. And respect each other more, rather than trying to hurt others. Okay? So the second man, and the third man, and the fourth man. So what should be done? What should be done? The king is he was a very, very wholesome man, a skillful man, a man with merits. And the king replied to the Buddha. He said, such a terrible destruction of human life. If, he said, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so difficult to obtain, what else should be done but to live by the Dhamma, to live righteously and do wholesome and meritorious deeds. Here, we have to look at this sentence, this second sentence. This human state being so difficult to obtain. We are human beings. We are human beings this lifetime. But how many of us actually know how precious being a human being is? How many of us? Why are you so quiet? It's a Dhamma sharing. You have to share.
I think before I know about Dhamma and Buddhism and all that, I don't think about that at all. Now that I have been in touch and being taught and trying to learn, I don't always think about it either. I think about it sometimes, not all the time.
Okay.
But I think at least I think about it.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've always thought that it's a huge responsibility, even as a young person, that we've got so much more ability than the animals and other creatures, and it's a responsibility more than anything else, because we can make choices and do things that affect both each other and those that can't make those choices.
So you are thinking from a responsibility point of view, right?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Very good.
I think for me lately it's more the aging.
The aging part.
The older, the people that around you that's gotten older and you getting older and feeling more of the aches and pains and realizing, okay, we're all getting to that point. So that's when you realize, okay, you're not, your time is getting
less and less.
So maybe you got to start, taking this life more seriously and more, and
taking the time more seriously. Yeah. The human state being so difficult to obtain. In order to be born as a human being, according to the Buddhist teachings, you look very attentive. Everybody have their eyes bulged out. The Buddha said, in order to be reborn as a human being, you at least have to abide by the 5 precepts and perform the 10 great deeds, the 10 great skillful deeds. So you, all of you, must have, in one life or many lives, have done that. Otherwise, you will not be reborn as a human being. And if you, 5 precepts, and then if you go to abide by the 10 precepts more, then of course there is a chance that you will be reborn as a celestial being, a heavenly being. Why would human state so important?
I think even as a human being, I'm easily distracted by the mundane life, so I'm always conscious that I need to use discipline and practice.
Yeah.
And I wonder if other forms of life, even as a human being, I find that difficult to do. So I can't fly.
Yeah.
I can do the same thing. So
Yeah.
It's already difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Laurie?
And yeah, well, as a human, we have the chance to hear the Dhamma.
Yes.
And to practice. And
Not
only humans have that.
only humans have that ability, capacity, I could say, capacity. And because we have the capacity to hear, to study, to listen, and the most important thing is, Goldie listen, but Goldie doesn't have a capacity to study. She has a capacity to learn and be conditioned. Give a paw, you get a treat. Then eventually, you shake a paw, then she will give you a paw, and you give her a treat. That's conditioned. She learned that by conditioning. But she cannot be like us. We take up a book, we read, we understand, we digest it, and we use it. No, none of other beings can, except us, except human beings. So we have this capacity to study and to understand and to practice and to change. That's the wonderful part of being a human being. Yeah.
In this teaching, can Goldie evolve to or reincarnate to human at some point?
Hopefully, because she has taken a seed from us every day.
Right.
Every day before she eats her meal, the Heart Sutra, the 3 refuge. Every day she sits there and listens. So we plant a seed. We keep putting seeds in. So, see her karma. Okay? So it's up to her own karma. And also it's up to us how to help her. Right? So you know who is Goldie, right?
Your dog.
Yeah.
The paw gave it away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. So live by the Dhamma to live righteously and do wholesome and meritorious deeds. Because as a human being, we are able to identify, okay, this is dhammic and this is not dhammic. This is skillful and this is not skillful. And this is the right way to live and this is not the right way to live. As a human being, if our mind is sound, we are able to identify and we are able to choose. But other humans, not other human beings, some human beings, they don't have the ability, they don't have the capacity, they don't have a sound mind to choose. Right? I was at prison last night, and this buddy told me, sister, I just realized. He has come to meditation with us for the last 3 years. He's a devoted Christian, and he comes every week at all the one-day meditation retreat. Almost all in the past 3 years. And he said last night to me, he said, sister, I realized I now realize that all the crime that I have committed in the past is all because of alcohol. I said, oh, did you just realize? He said, yeah, there was something lurking in my mind all the time, but I only realized this lately, that all the crimes I committed because I was drunk. And when I was so sober for 5 years, and I said, no way that I'm going to go back to alcohol anymore. And then somebody asked me, oh, well, you drag me down. Okay, you can have 7-Up. I will, you can have 7-Up. Then I see people drinking. Oh yeah, 1 sip is not going to harm. And then 2 sips. And then 1 pint. And then 2 pints. That's it. He said, then next thing I remember, I committed a crime. He said, every time I came back to prison, it's because of alcohol. Now I learned it. I said, well, great thing that you learned it, but I hope that you can keep it, right? It's not easy. He said, yeah, I need to be in the right kind of company. I need to be in the right community. Now he knows. He said, I'm not going back to those friends anymore. I need to go to a new community. At least now he can have this sound mind, to have this sound thought, to have this right thought and right mind, and hopefully that will work out, right? It's not easy. So that's it, to live by the Dhamma. And then the Buddha said, and announced to you, great king, aging and death are rolling in on you like a mountain. This simile of mountain is just like, it's a metaphor for aging, sickness, and death. It's rolling in on us all the time. Kok said, aching, here and there, aching, and seeing, especially when we get older, we see a lot of death happening, our families. Then, how many of you still have parents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow, you're lucky. So lucky to have 1 or 2 parents, right? So, when we grow older and older, our parents start to go. Our siblings start to go. And our friends start to go. You see, the family start with 2 people, grow bigger, bigger, bigger. And then, when we get older, the family goes smaller and smaller and smaller, right? Because they start to go. So, aging and death are just like mountains rolling onto us, yeah? And when aging and death are rolling in onto you, great king, what should be done? What should be done? And the great king said, what can we do? Except living by the Dhamma, to live righteously and to do wholesome and meritorious deed. So to live by the Dhamma, what do you think the king means? Which particular teachings was he talking about?
Cause and effect.
Okay, that's part of it. What path is he talking about? The 8 noble path, right? Remember, these are the basic concept that you always have to bear in mind. And to live righteously, I'm going back to this passage because it's being repeated all the time, okay? So to live righteously, that means to live with
By the precepts.
precepts, yeah, morality, ethical conduct. So to progress in this ethical conduct, yeah? And to do wholesome and meritorious deeds, what does it mean? wholesome, we all know. Skillful, right? And meritorious deeds.
The paramis.
Paramis. Which one? Particular?
Compassion.
Generosity.
Generosity. Yeah, generosity. Of course, compassion is one kind of generosity. Because with meritorious deeds, so there are a few ways to be generous. First kind of generosity is giving material things, right? Money, clothing, housing, medicine, whatever. That is, we call the external physical generosity. What about the internal? There is something called internal generosity.
Donating organs.
Huh?
Donating organs.
Donating organs, yeah. Giving your life. Donating your body, giving your life, any part of your body, for the benefits of others. That's also generosity. And then also generosity in the sense of spreading the words of the Buddha. The giving. Generosity, that means giving, right? You have to be generous to give. So giving, the second giving is giving the Dhamma. Yeah?
Is just giving time a meritorious act? Just giving time?
Giving time to,
Like visiting?
yeah, that is meritorious. That is it depends on what you do. For example, you are giving time to go and serve as Salvation Army. That is the first generosity. Generosity, giving time for the benefits of others in the material sense, isn't it? It is in the material sense. You're helping the Salvation Army in the thrift store. So they sell the money, they get the money, they buy food, they support the needed ones. So that's the generosity in the first category. And then the internal generosity is our life. The first generosity have two parts. The external one is, anything material, or anything your time thing, or money, whatever. Then the internal is you giving your life, the eyes, the organs, anything. Okay, so the second type of generosity or giving is giving the Dhamma. So it is not necessarily like me, just sitting here and sharing with you. No. When you are able to share your Dhamma, your experience with Dhamma with anybody else, and your friend, with your families and everything, and they benefit from it, then you're giving. Even though they don't benefit, but you're sharing, it's also a giving. Yeah. So, for example, like Laurie used to be a teacher, and she helped the kid to develop in mindfulness. So that was giving a Dhamma to the kids. You see? So if you are in a hospital, or if you are a volunteer in hospital or in any kind, those facilities, you actually giving in the first category, and also if you are supporting them with the Dhamma, or reading sutra to them, or chanting to them, then you're giving the Dhamma too. Okay, so that's the second category. And the third category of Dhammic gift or generosity is giving is a fearless giving. Fearless. What does it mean? It means, for example, I want to give an example that will be much easier. For example, if I am alone, alone in a room with somebody, maybe a little one or whatever, and that little one will not be scared of me. And I can tell them what to do. I can be with them. I can console them if they are scared. I can console them if they are sad. They are not scared of me because they know that I am a person with compassion. I'm a person with integrity. So it's a fearless giving. I am with that person. But if I'm somebody who is not really doing a great job in keeping my moral conduct, and people maybe they can sense and they sit with me, they feel very scared. So if I want to offer help, they won't take it, because I have the reputation of having killed or having raped or having stolen people's things or having verbally abused people, all these things. So what I give out would not be a fearless giving. It would be a very scary. People would be scared because they know that I'm not such a person. So they will start to worry. Even though I will give them, take this, they wouldn't know whether I'll be poisoning them or I'll be blackmailing them later on, because I've done that before. You see, that is not a fearless giving. A fearless giving is people will not be afraid. So even though if you are a man, even though somebody trusts his wife to you, then you look after his wife very carefully, because the man trusted you. You won't take advantage of his wife.
So that would work for kids, so not to spank them because they would fear the spanking.
Exactly. Not to spank them because they would fear of spanking. But how are you going to teach them then?
Not with fear.
Exactly, with compassion and reasoning. Compassion and reasoning. That is fearless giving. Okay? Understand that? So there's the few different categories of giving, okay? Then the Buddha said, I announce to you, great king, aging and death are rolling in on you. When aging and death are rolling in on you, great king, what should be done? This is nothing you can do except live by the Dhamma, to live righteously and to do wholesome and meritorious deeds, right? So it goes on and goes on and goes on. So he said, those intoxicated with the intoxication of sovereignty and obsessed by greed for sensual pleasures, who have attained stable control in their country, rule over a great sphere of territory. That's what the king did. That's what kings do, the king said. Conquer by means of elephant battles, cavalry battles, chariot battles, and infantry battles. Okay, this point, the fifth point is, these are the way that they go into war in the old days. Not with missiles, not with nuclear weapons, not with those, but with elephant battles, cavalry battles, chariot battles, and infantry battles. So these are the four different kind of army or whatever you want to call it in the old days. And there is no hope for victory by such battles when aging and death are rolling on. So the Buddha said, there is no hope of victory by such battles, no chance of success when aging and death are rolling in. In this royal court, Venerable Sir, there are counselors who, when the enemies arrive, are capable of dividing them by subterfuge. Subterfuge. Yeah, subterfuge. But there is no hope for victory by subterfuge. Subterfuge, that means by power. Yeah? The first is by battles, the second is by power. And no chance of success when aging and death are rolling in. In this royal court, Venerable Sir, there exists abundant bullion and gold stored in vaults and lofts, and with such wealth we are capable of mollifying the enemies when they come. But the Buddha said, there's no such hope of victory by wealth. You see, the first is by battles, the second is by power, and the third is by wealth, money, stocks. Yeah? So these are all what? These are all the craving that we as human beings always wanted to crave for. Fame, status, money. Right? We see that so vividly nowadays. Everybody sees it, except the one who is inside the picture. He doesn't see it. So it's so sarcastic. So that the Buddha went on. So he said, it's just as mountains of solid rock, crushing all in the four quarters, so aging and death come rolling over living beings. There is no hope there for victory. He said, therefore, a person of wisdom here, out of regard for his own good, steadfast, should settle faith. Where? Settle faith in where? Yeah, triple gem. In the Buddha, in the Dhamma, and in the Sangha. That is page 28, the last two paragraphs. And he said, when one conducts oneself by Dhamma, with body, speech, and mind, you see, bodily we don't cause harm to people. We don't steal. Yeah? And we don't drink. And speech, we don't use abusive verbs. We don't slander. We don't gossip. We don't divide. Mind, we are focused. We are balanced. We are equanimous. We are mindful. We are compassionate. We are kind. We are giving. He said, they praise one here in this present life. And remember, we talked about that in Dhammapada. Can't remember which verse. But, and there after death, one rejoices in heaven. Yeah? Because why? If you conduct yourself properly, righteously, this lifetime, if you haven't killed, do you think you will sleep better? If you have killed, don't you think that you will be haunted? I would, right? I would. So, so when after death, one rejoices in heaven. Even though we don't have to wait after death, we rejoices right now. And why we would rejoice in heaven, what does it mean is, in the next life to come, you reap all the good causes that you have planted this lifetime. That's what he means. Not really just in heaven, but in a higher rebirth, in a better rebirth. Okay? All right? So we have gone through 2 pages. Okay. So one break, one name is still on. If you have time next time, when you come around, go down to that little path, look at building A. Building A, the first floor is almost done, the brick. Building A, on that side, is almost done. Okay, they're working on the building D now, on top, on the second floor, they're coring. And then soon they will start to put bricks on. They put staircase inside building D already. Okay, and so the annual auspicious blessings chanting ceremony start on the 17th, the 7th of July and go all the way to the 13th. So everybody is welcome to offer food, to offer tea, and to offer food, and also to offer lunches. Okay, so let us dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, and help themselves to liberate themselves from their own entanglements and be truly happy and peaceful.